Hi there, yarn lovers, it's Gary and I'm coming to you from my living room here in Vancouver, Canada. So welcome. Today's Tuesday, February the 23rd, 2021, and this is video number 97. It's been a whole week since I uploaded my last podcast and I have lots of things to catch you up on. So how is everyone? I hope everyone's doing well. I want to just wish all the people who have just arrived and found the channel and joined us in amongst our fiber friends here a very special welcome. And to those who have been around for a while, welcome back. I've been loving all of the comments, so thank you for keeping them coming. What am I going to talk about today? Well, as you can see, I'm grinning from ear to ear because there is something super exciting that I want to share with everyone. And that is my Bush Tracker Beanie knit pattern. I have had it tested and I've written up all of the edits, and I met with my testers through a Zoom meeting yesterday, and that was so exciting. I want to just reach out and say another special thank you and hello to all of those people who helped me test it, this particular pattern. Just the amazing support that I've received from those people who even did a few of the knitted hats, and through the Zoom yesterday, they were showing off all of their wonderful makes, and I absolutely adored all of the finished items. So thank you again to all those testers. Well, let's start talking about the pattern because there's a lot that I want to showcase, and this is going to be a video dedicated to if you are wanting to do and start the pattern. That I'm going to be talking about some things, tips along the way on yarn choices, perhaps maybe pitfalls that I fell into, some video tutorials out there that helped me along the way that I would like to share. It's not a very difficult pattern, but it did go through a few new things that I had not done before. So I want to share those with you along the way, and make the make as pleasurable as possible. For your yarn, from your yarn choices all the way to the finished project, and open up the avenue to other items that can be made using this as a benchmark to bounce from. Let's get started on some of the things that I got to talk about. So I'm linking the pattern down below in the description box. It's going to drive you to a public I have a DropBox account, and I have a folder there that's devoted to public access, and this will be a free pattern. So it's my way of giving back to the community for showing support of this channel. I'm still quite a newbie at knitting and crocheting, so and also in my infancy here on YouTube. So I wanted to thank everyone along the way for encouragement, for their advice, support, and just the friendship that I've found along the way. So just my way of giving back. When you link on that pattern, if you do intend to try the pattern out, you'll receive something that looks like this. It's a PDF and it's got 3 pages. This is page 1, and it goes through 5 easy steps to start and to finish of the make, and I've broken it down into 3 different sizes for adults. So there's a small, medium, and a large. I thought with my first pattern I didn't want to bite off more than I could chew. There was a couple of instances there where I got my maths completely wrong, but with my testers they were able to help me out along the way. So thank you so much. I'm such a dummy when it comes to writing up patterns. So let's talk about what you'll need for the make. Just to get going, kick it off. And what we'll need is 3 sizes of knitting needles. And I have written down the choice of style of, I guess the process that I use is I use the 16" circulars. Now, I know there are other ways of tackling a hat pattern. You could use magic loop, or you could use them all on double pointed needles. But this is my method that I'm suggesting that I work off of for the pattern, and I'm using 3 sizes. The first one being a 6mm, and I will give you the US size as well. It's a US 10, and I'm using 16-inch length circular knitting needles. And then I move up for my transition into the herringbone stitch part of the hat. I'm using an 8mm, so that is a US 11. And then I'm using a 10mm for the body of the herringbone stitch pattern, and that is a US 15. The example that I showed you just now is just the clover and their bamboo needles, but you can use whatever you like, whether you like stainless steel, or if you like a different type of wood or a different type of metal or plastic, then those, choose your weapon of choice. Now, the amount of yarn that you would need, I'm putting as a suggestion here of 100 grams of bulky weight 5, because it's a bulky weight hat, and occasionally I've knitted up samples here that you'll see that I use 2 worsted weight, which is a 4 weight classification yarn held together to get me to the level of a bulky 5. You'll also need a darning needle, scissors, and a stitch marker that's got a clasp opener on it. So the way I'm using my stitch marker throughout the pattern is that I'm attaching it to the actual stitch, not between 2 stitches. I'm attaching it to the last stitch of the round. So that's helpful to have an opening so you can take it off and put it back on to where the pattern tells you to move it up to the next round. Let's get stuck into some of the, I guess, the look of yarn that I knitted up in these samples, and I have a few of the testers as well who have given me their tests so that you can see what they had done as well. And what I'm going to do is put some of their beautiful makes at the end of the video so that you can see also the styles of yarn choices that were made by the testers. Absolutely love them. So here's my first small pattern here in this oatmeal-y style. I'm going to call it like a speckle tonal, and it shows off the herringbone stitch really nicely as well as the 1x1 ribbing part of the hat. A little bit of the design, I guess, what drew me to create this pattern was that I really liked the flexibility of the 1x1 ribbing as opposed to the firm fit, snug, I guess, fabric that the herringbone stitch makes. So quite 2 different styles of fabric that both stitches make up. And what influenced me was the fact that in the 80s, when I was growing up, there was a lot of different styles of headbands that people could wear. So if you were like into aerobics, or if you were doing fitness workout, you would see those terry towel kind of headbands that people would wear. So my herringbone stitch part of the design was an attribute, I guess, or a influence from those style of firm fitting headbands. So this is what holds the hat on your head comfortably, is this headband. I'm going to call it like a band of herringbone stitch. The rest of it is quite flexible. So if you have lots of hair underneath the hat, that it's going to be forgiving and it will be able to mold around. If you have say for example you have braids, or if you have say a lot of hair, then it's going to fit underneath in this extra squishy goodness that is the 1x1 ribbing. Same with here with your ears. If you have ears like mine kind of like protrude out a little bit, they're quite long, that the ridge work, ribbing work around the brim will be able to cover and not feel like it's like suffocating your ears. So those are the two ideas behind the two stitches that I chose for this hat. Now the yarn is, I should talk to you about the yarn. It's from Premier and it's called Serenity, and it's a chunky yarn. And where did I put here it is here. This is it here, Serenity Chunky. Whoa, it's blowing out. The colorway is called Almond, and it is a true bulky, because we know that we have different classifications that are classified as bulky, but they're kind of either a light bulky or a bulkier bulky. So this is a true bulky, and you need 100 grams. I used a 100-gram ball for a small hat, and I had 20 grams left over. So this small hat is 82 grams, and the leftovers were 18 grams. The next one I have is from one of my wonderful testers, and I put this one on a model head because I thought it was amazing. So here we have another small, and just what it looks like as a self-striping yarn. This one is called Charisma, and I just love the way that this one speckles, and in the lighter colors you can actually see the herringbone very well and pronounced, and also the ridge work, the ribbing work here is just beautifully done. Love it, love it, love it. And both of those two smalls were 100% acrylic, so they got really good care instructions. The Charisma is a bulky 5 classification as well. It has a beautiful elasticity, so when you're knitting with it, it actually has a little bit of give. Unlike some of the, I'm going to say some of the other economic brands out there that you buy from the big box stores, they don't have much of a give. They're quite rigid in the way that they work on your needles. The next few that I've got to showcase are the medium-sized ones. I'll show again the same tester that gave me the small also knitted up the medium size in this Charisma here. Different colorway. I'm sorry, I don't know the colorways of these two color choices, but they're wonderful, aren't they? They're beautifully done. Again, in that lighter yellow, this kind of neon-y stripe that goes across the herringbone stitch, you can actually see the herringbone stitch really well. So that's a medium. One of the mediums that I did here is this blue one here, and I held 2 worsted weight yarns, which is a 4-weight yarn, together to get my bulky classification yarn. Here we go, and I'll show you what I used. I used the Red Heart Super Saver in the Aruba colorway. This is 100% acrylic as well. Easy care instructions. You can throw it in the wash and the dryer. And I also used Premier Muir Woods in the colorway Creek. So those two together made up this hat. Next one that I'm going to showcase are the large size. I like the large size for me because of my big ears, and also I have a lot of hair. Makes me think about one of my fiber friends out there who always likes talking about my hair, and apparently her hubby, who she calls Superman, likes my hair. So hi Superman, and hi Tess, how you doing? So yeah, what have we got here? Large, okay, because we're on the Charisma kick here. This is my large in the Charisma from Loops and Thread. This colorway I do have, it is called Northern Lights. Really, really nice. It has that white bit, a light blue-ish bit at the top. A little harder to see the herringbone stitch in a darker part of the striping, but it fits super comfortably as well, and it just gives you a little bit of a different texture, I guess, when you're looking at a self-striping yarn like this. And another one of my testers, again, used the same yarn. We had the same yarn. So this is her make in the Loops and Thread Charisma Northern Lights in the large as well. So really nice. Great minds think alike, I think. And the other variety that I have is, this is another large here. And these are two worsted weight yarns held together. Really nice orange and speckly looking fabric that it made up. So what I had was, if I can find them, oh, here we go. They were Peyton's Denim, and the colorway I over dyed. It was originally in the colorway Tangerine, but I over dyed it with other colors like scarlet, red, and orange to really kind of like pump out some colors and some speckles, and that really helped me get beautiful texture there on this orange Bush Tracker Beanie. And this is a chain spun yarn, and it's slightly felted in when I was over dyeing it. It felt like a sticky yarn that was a little bit felted to begin with, but I really like it. It's a quite light and airy finish that it makes in the fabrics. So I held those two together. They were amazing. And what else do I have? This is really exciting. Okay, there is one more here that fell underneath all of the stack that I have here. This one as well is a large, and I'm holding two worsted weight yarns together, and one is a yarn from Hobie, and it's called Cookie Yarn, and the colorway I believe is called, I want to say it's called Amber. Comes in a big cake. Oh, I've got some here, I can just show you. That's it there. And it's blowing out. So, and I held that together with a 4-weight yarn from another Premier yarn, and it's called the Everyday Anti-Peeling in this tonal golden brown colorway, and it's called Clay Tones. Really love this one here. Just the way that the darker brown came out of the cookie fit in really nicely with the band here of the herringbone stitch area. What we're going to look at in this particular example here is the inside of what the stitch work looks like. So this is the inside of the Bush Tracker Beanie. The decreases are the reverse. So whatever was a pearl is now a knit on the inside, and whatever was a knit is now a pearl. So it's kind of the opposite, but in the brim it looks the same. It's fully reversible, just the decrease looks a little different. And this is what the herringbone stitch looks like on the inside. Super interesting. And should you like to wear it on the inside out, then that's a possibility as well. So really like that. I'll put it back around the other way so you can see what it looks like. And the last one that I just recently completed, which I love the fabric that it made up. It's got a little bit of fuzz to it, it is this one here from Lion brand, and it's called Watercolors, and it's a bulky 5 classification, and all of these changes in the color within the colorway. Let me see, I think it's in the colorway, well, I've got it in here, sorry about this. Watercolors, and the colorway is called Quarry, and I believe this is 100% acrylic as well. I might have some wool in this one, I think. What did they say? 75 acrylic and 15 wool and 10% nylon. So those are the fibers that make up this yarn. Now this one, they say you have to lay flat to dry, and I think you have to hand wash. No, it says machine wash gentle and lay flat to dry. So those are the care instructions for this one here. Now, I used a tutorial to help me with my herringbone stitch to begin with, and I looked at a couple of other patterns on how people write up the herringbone stitch. So I kind of like had a couple of helpful inspirations on how to write up my portion in the pattern. So the thing that I want to showcase here is when you're doing a herringbone stitch, you're doing one round that leans one way, and then you have to do the second round which leads the opposite way in the stitch, kind of like how it's made up. So you do get a join area here where you get some sort of diamond shaped stitch work happening. So yeah, but they stack up nicely, and if you're looking to perhaps maybe create these patterns and you're interested in selling them, if you really love making them, then my suggestion here would be, if you wanted to kind of like, if you felt that this was uncomfortable, this little area here, you could put a label on it, or you could put a little something like an applique. Yeah, I was thinking of actually putting a label on, like handmade by whatever. If I wanted to make a logo up in fabric, I could put it there as well. So that's just a little area. Got to show that that this happens when you actually are joining the rounds together. Now you don't get to see it at all in the ribbing part of the work of the fabric, and even with a self-striping yarn, you don't even see that there is a jog, is what they call when it sort of lifts up, because of the fact that you are doing one knit, one purl. So the jog actually happens in a recessed part of the purl, and it sort of makes it a little bit more, eases it into the next round without it being noticed. So the other thing that I wanted to talk about are some of the possibilities that can happen once you build on this pattern as a base. You may like to do some other things, and I am going to stop this because I have to go grab some things. Using the Bush Tracker Beanie as a base pattern, there are ways of extending on it and making it something else of your own, whether it is to create just the head warmer or an ear warmer, if you're looking to make a messy bun or a slouchy. So the next couple of I guess samples that I'm going to show you are some ideas that you can choose to maneuver away from the base pattern and create these things of your own liking. So here's one here where I did a larger dome for the head part, in the case that you want to make it more of a slouchy hat. Now initially what I thought did not work in this style was that you have the headband that's quite tight around the base of your crown here, going around there like a headband. And so when the slouchy was sort of flopping in the back, it wasn't opening up enough. The headband was stopping it from opening up. But if you had extra hair For example, if you like wearing your hair in a bun, or if you've got braids and you want to have more room, a longer dome part of the hat will actually fit more comfortably around your head. So there is an option of, if you like the style of a slouchy, that you could try it as a slouchy, and you can also have extra room for your hair by extending on the dome. For my letter carrier, she requested a messy bun hat, so if I can find where an image of that one is, I'll include it in the picture around here, and you can take a look at it. The other thing that you can do is play around with color. I know that we talked about holding two yarns together, and one of my testers, who hand dyed all of her own yarn for this test, she had a wonderful way of changing up the herringbone band in a different selection of color. This is my one here that I did, and I went crazy with all the different things that you could do. Now this is overboard with possibilities all in the one area. So just to showcase what you can do by switching up the pattern a little bit. This ribbing here is a slip stitch 1x1 slip stitch brim. Then the herringbone stitch is in a different color. Then the top part here is using two colors alternating. So all of my pearl bumps are in the orange, and all of the knit stitches are in a different color. So yeah, it's like a purpley blue. Really, really nice. So all the options that you can do, whether you want to make it a messy bun, or if you want to change out the color for each of the sections, yeah, that's a possibility. The other thing that I played around with in the beginning of working up this hat pattern was that the herringbone stitch could be lower down. It doesn't have to be higher up. It could be a hat that has more dome at the top and less brim. It could also have two herringbone bands in between the ribbing. So it could be ribbing 1x1 for a smaller section, herringbone stitch for a small section, then back to ribbing, and then back to the herringbone, and then crowning it off at the top with the 1x1 again. That's another option to get two herringbone stitches. And I guess that's it. You can also make ear warmers as well, and you kind of pretty much need to choose how thick you want the ear warmer around your ears. You could do the brim, herringbone, and then brim again, binding it off in, I would say, for an ear warmer, yeah, I guess you could bind off in pattern, like, you know, knit one, purl one, bind off, or you could do a I-cord bind off as well, which makes it a little tighter and firmer. So yeah, the possibilities are open to change up with using that foundation pattern, which is kind of a nice idea. And if you are loving the pattern so much and you want to share your makes with people and you want to sell them this pattern, you can actually create the garments and sell them to your clients or your customers. That's totally fine. You don't even have to let me know that that's happening. This pattern is open for anyone to use, and whatever the end product is in the end, like whether you're selling it, that's totally up to you. The only thing that you can't do is take my pattern and I guess release it as your own. So that would be, I guess, against copyright. But you're welcome to do everything else, like selling your garments that you make from it or your accessories. And I wish you all the best with the pattern. If anyone is intending to make that Bush Tracker Beanie, I would love to see the results as well. And I've created a little bit of a hashtag on Instagram. I think you can actually hashtag it here as well on YouTube. I'm not too sure. But the hashtag is hashtag Bush Tracker Beanie. And I'll just include it down here on the screen caption. And if you could, I guess, somehow link it into your Instagram, or if you're on YouTube, I would love to see your results. So with that, I am going to say thank you for listening to me for the last 25 minutes. And I am going to now celebrate eating my favorite pastry from my, I guess it's my bakery that's local, and it's called the Copenhagen. And I'm going to finish enjoying my coffee, which is in one of my very, very special mugs that Penny Bolton sent me, and enjoy the Bush Tracker Beanie. I hope that you enjoyed this episode, and yeah, we'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.